Today I'm going to make stuffed mushrooms, crab stuffed mushrooms. This will be my third recipe that I've showed you on stuffed mushrooms, but I know we're getting really close to the holidays, and I know it's a really popular appetizer, and it's my favorite appetizer is any kind of stuffed mushrooms. The last one was like a vegetarian one, and the one before had like a bacon and cheese and a cream cheese and onion filling. This one is going to be a version of crab stuffed mushrooms. I've had this recipe for a very long time, and I have it probably once a year in combination with a lot of other ones. Traditionally in my family, on New Year's Eve, we don't cook a meal. We just serve appetizers, desserts, and champagne. And I know it's just a very popular appetizer because a lot of people like mushrooms. So this is a really delicious one, and I do make my own homemade breadcrumbs that go in it. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. These are my homemade croutons, and I'm going to put like a half a cup in a food processor and make them into breadcrumbs. The first thing we are going to do is chop up half of an onion, and it can be a yellow or white, or it could even be a red onion. We're also going to chop up one celery stick fine. So I made like all these cuts in here, and we're just going to finely chop one celery stalk. And also we have 4 garlic cloves. And you don't have to use 4. You could, use however much garlic you want. But I would use at least 2 cloves of garlic. I have 4 here. So it's kind of a personal choice. So 2 to 4 cloves of garlic. And about 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley. So these are your veggies that you're going to put. So this is about how fine you want your celery and onions, right about like this. And then I'm just going to show you one mushroom. There's a lot of people that just snap these out. I don't know how good I am at doing that. So I use a paring knife, and I go very carefully around the stem. And my other videos show how I do this, but I'm going to do it again. So like I said, there's other people that are better at removing these stems than I am. And then I get a spoon, and I go all the way around, and I clean out the gills. Some people don't, but I like to have more room to stuff whatever I'm going to put in my mushroom. So that's how I'm not done, but that's how you clean out a mushroom. We are going to save the stems because I'm going to chop some of those up as part of the filling. We did it. So I can do it too. There we go. So regardless of how you take off your stem, it doesn't matter. Even if I can snap it off or not, I still use a paring knife to go around and clean out the edges. That's how I do it. So this is how they turn out. So our mushrooms are all cleaned out and ready, and there's a little over 2 dozen. That's the most work you'll do preparing your mushrooms. And then we have all of our veggies here, and we have the stems of all the mushrooms chopped very fine. So now we're going to continue on. Okay, we've heated up some olive oil, and now we're going to put our veggies in. And we're going to saute the veggies on low, and then we're going to add the stems. So we have our stems and our veggies sauteing in the olive oil, and we just, like I said, added like a tablespoon of butter. And now we're going to add the breadcrumbs. So now I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of white wine. And we're going to let that absorb in all the veggies and breadcrumbs. That'll give it a lot of flavor, that wine. So it's about a 1/4 cup altogether. So our seasonings that we're adding is an Old Bay seasoning, about a 1/2 teaspoon. We have salt, pepper, and garlic powder. And those are our seasonings that are going into all of this. So we're going to put all of our filling in a bowl, just like this. We're going to add all of it in a large bowl. And then we want to chop up our 8 ounces of crab meat, just a little finer, because they're kind of pretty big chunks that come in there. It's a really, really good crab too. It's a very good choice for canned crab if you don't have fresh crab. So now we're going to put everything in a bowl. We're going to add the crab, the cold crab. I don't put it on the stove. I add it all in the bowl with everything else that was cooked, sauteed, and then I mix everything together, just like this. And it has a lot of flavor, by the way. A lot of it has to do with the homemade croutons that I made breadcrumbs with. It has so much flavor in this. And the wine helps a lot too. So after I get this all mixed together, it's got the binder of the wine and everything with the breadcrumbs and the wine. And that's a binder right there. So it kind of sticks together. So now I'm just going to stuff 2 in front of you. Like, I'm just going to show you how to stuff 2. Just like this. So this is the easy part here. Like I said, the most work was actually preparing and cleaning up the mushrooms, but other than that, everything else is pretty easy. So we'll just finish these up. So we have all of our mushrooms stuffed. They look wonderful. The last step that we do is we take some grated Parmesan cheese, and I use the small grate for these. And I don't put it on the pan yet because I don't want any of this to burn on the pan. So I leave it on the plate and I top all the mushrooms with grated fresh Parmesan cheese. So this is the very last step before it goes into the oven. And your oven should be preheated at 375. And these should cook about 15 minutes, but it depends on your oven. I'm just kind of estimating that that's how long these will take. These are kind of a small, medium mushroom. So we're going to put these in the oven. So here they are. This is, I think, like a 9 by 13 pan that they fit in. And you are not going to be able to avoid getting a little of the cheese on the bottom. But when you first put all the cheese on, it's better to do it on a plate instead of this because you won't get as much. So we are going to go put this in the oven right now at 375 degrees for 15 minutes. So there you put them on the middle rack. We'll see you in about 15 minutes. So here they are. They just came out of the oven and they smell delicious and they look delicious. And so they're really hot, and we are going to plate them in a little plate, and I'm going to give them a try. Okay, now we're ready to try our mushrooms, but let's pour ourselves a little glass of Chardonnay. This is the wine I used in the filling to make the filling for the mushrooms. So let's have a little sip of this. It's really nice to have with hors d'oeuvres is a glass of wine. So here are our mushrooms. I've cut one in half so I can, and I let it cool a little so I can try it without burning my mouth. So let's try it. Unbelievable. Really good. I can taste everything. Every seasoning, the crab, all the flavors, the cheese, the wine. They're really, really good. And every time I make a new stuffed mushroom recipe, I always say this one's my favorite. But you know, I love stuffed mushrooms. I love mushrooms so much that they're all really good in their own way. I love seafood. I love crab. They're all really good. So I can't really say, because every time I have one, I think that's the one I like the best. But if you like mushrooms and you like seafood, you like crab, you will love these. So I hope you enjoy this recipe, and I hope it turns out wonderful for you. I'm really enjoying these mushrooms. Bon appetit.